Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I have a very special guest. Anna with us. Hello Anna, welcome.
Hi.
I have a couple of questions to Anna, and she is very special because she is doing her MD-PhD program at Pittsburgh University. And can you briefly tell about yourself?
I'm Anna Matinas. You know, we've worked for almost a year, which has been a very incredible journey. I'm a fifth-year student about to graduate my PhD, and I've been, in the MD-PhD program to become a physician scientist.
That's great. I have a couple of questions. Actually, I collected these questions from the students. I asked them, and one of them, can you share the personal story behind your decision to choose MD-PhD program at Pittsburgh University?
Yeah, so I didn't really want to choose whether I just become a scientist or a physician. I was very early on in my undergraduate career, I knew that I wanted to do research, and then sort of got more experience working with patients that have the diseases that I was studying in the lab, and I really liked the integration of being a part of patient care as well as sort of studying the mechanisms behind the diseases that the patients I was seeing in the clinic.
That's great. So the other question, what is the sequence of MD and PhD training like, and how these translations affect you?
Yeah, so the sequence of training is slightly different at every institution. Here at Pitt, we do 2 years of preclinical curriculum, so we're essentially medical students within our first and second year, and then we sort of take a pause and we pick a lab, and we do our PhDs in between 3 to 6 years. The average is 3.5, 4, and then we go back to medical school to complete our clinical third and fourth years, and after that we go off to do more clinical training and residency.
That's great. Thank you, Anna. And how do you plan your day? What are your strategies actually for managing the workload,
Yeah, so it very much depends in terms of what stage of training I'm in. So first 2 years of medical school is just learning, the basic science, the basic pathophysiology of, the human body and the diseases. So that's very much like your standard education system. Like you read the textbook, you take exams, and the lab is very flexible. I sort of plan my day in terms of, the experiments I'm trying to do. It's very flexible day to day. Third and fourth year of medical school is very challenging because you're given a schedule and you essentially have to rotate through every clinical specialty. So you don't actually get to make your own schedule. You just have to be at the hospital, at the clinical site, sort of fulfilling the duties of a third-year medical student, and then after you're done with your day, you have to go home and study for your exams. So it's very busy, but definitely a rewarding experience.
So how do you manage your mentally, actually, between clinical education to MD and lab research? How did you manage this?
Yeah, so it's a very interesting process because you sort of wear 2 different hats. I think very differently in the lab working with you versus how I think when I'm sort of being a student on clinical rotations. I think it's 2 very different fields, yet they overlap so much because a lot of the things that we do in the clinic are informed by basic science research. And then sort of in the clinic, there are a lot of the guidelines that have already been established. So you practice clinical medicine according to so-called rule book, versus in the lab, it's a very different thought process where you sort of get to make the calls and get to make discoveries. There are no sort of guidelines to how, in terms of how to answer the next question.
Actually, when you said the discovery, I have another question about the discovery. What is it like to think that a scientific discovery could directly reach patients?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the coolest aspects of being in a physician scientist training program, like the project you and I are working on. I mean, we identified a very interesting family of patients without a known genetic cause of heart disease. And we've sort of worked through the years trying to identify a new gene that's driving their disease process. So I think that's very powerful because you get to discover new disease mechanisms and potentially new therapeutics for patients who wouldn't have them otherwise.
Right, thank you. And as a woman scientist, so I had several videos about the women scientists, you know. I mean, if you want, guys, you can also check these videos as well. So what are the challenges and advantages of being in academia as a woman?
I think that's a really interesting question. Thankfully, you know, academia at this current time of age has been very supportive of women being in science and medicine. I've had numerous mentors sort of guided me through this process. I think it's very important to just be confident in general and being confident in your knowledge and sort of in the way you interact with people. I think that's something that I learned.
Okay, that's a great answer actually. And can you also share a failure or difficult moments when you experienced during this program, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so I think it's a very challenging program, not only length-wise, but you know,
psychologically as well.
Psychologically wise, because you are learning so many things about medicine science, whereas people usually learn one or the other. I think probably the most difficult aspect of the training has been the PhD portion, where I was sort of working in this very challenging field, and you're supposed to be completely on your own as a graduate student, sort of figuring things out. And there were times where I would collect data for 3 to 4 months, and a lot of it would turn out to be artifacts, and sort of
Right.
learning how to overcome that mental block of thinking, you know, you failed at something, you wasted so much time is very important long term.
I see. Actually, you know what, the other question I always tell to my student, that the role model is very important. And please find a role model and, you know, try to be like him or like her, you know. And I had a role model as well for myself, but I want to ask you, do you have a role model?
I think that, you know, I don't think I necessarily have a role model. I think that, you know, I've worked with a lot of mentors in the past, and I only want to take the best parts.
Exactly.
I want to take the best parts from every mentor that I've had and sort of integrate that into how I, you know, practice clinically or conduct research in the lab. You know, I've met a lot of and worked with a lot of incredible people, and you know, I've learned so much along the way. And you know, I want to take the positives with me.
Exactly. Yeah, this is a good way actually. You know, each person cannot be perfect. You know, so you are just taking the good side from each mentor. That's great. So what is the most valuable advice you have received from a mentor during your PhD, MD-PhD program?
Trust the process.
Trust the process?
Trust the process. Once you sort of immerse yourself into the program, you're on the right track. Just trust the process. Take it day by day.
So the other important question, do you think the MD-PhD path is suitable for everyone?
Definitely not suitable for everyone. I think that, you know, it's important to consider what an applicant wants to get out of their future career. You can be an incredible physician scientist without doing a PhD, and you can be an excellent PhD scientist who like really understands the clinical side of things without doing an MD. So I think this path is really for someone who envisions tightly integrating both fields and sort of getting this extensive training in both specialties to sort of, you know, lead an academic research lab in the future.
I see. So after finishing this program, where do you see yourself? I mean, the clinical part or in the research part?
Yeah, I definitely see myself in a little bit of everything. I'm the type of person who likes to do multiple things at the same time. I definitely see myself practicing clinically, hopefully as a cardiologist. I also hope to do some highly translational studies at an academics institution. And I also think that there's an important aspect of, translating discoveries and like novel therapeutics to patients directly, which can only be done through like pharmaceutical companies and industry. So I hope to integrate a bit of that component as well.
That's great. Since you have experience now, because you are still doing you're almost finished your PhD, but you are still studying on MD program. So if you had the chance to start over, would you choose the same path again?
I definitely would.
So
it's exciting.
Exciting. I think this is a very important question because you have experience now. You know where you are, and you want to do. Even if you start over, you want to do the same things again.
I wouldn't do a 6-year PhD. Wouldn't want to do a 5-year PhD. 3 to 4-year PhD is the sweet spot where it's not overly extensive and you sort of don't lose touch with the clinical side of things. I think anything, if I had to stay like extra years in the lab, probably wouldn't be worth it.
I see. Thank you. And do you have a message for young women or those considering MD-PhD track?
If you really want to do it, do it. I really wanted to do it, and I'm glad I did it because I just don't see myself doing anything else.
That's great. So lastly, this will be the last question. What advice would you give to students just starting medical school, especially those coming from outside of the United States?
Develop very good coping mechanisms, stress coping mechanism. This path is very challenging and it's incredibly stressful. I'm a very big advocate for mental health. And I think it's very important to find something you really love to do outside of medicine and sort of stick to that as a healthy coping, stress relieving mechanism that can help you get through this very challenging path, whether it's hobby, family, pets, any of those things. It's really important to do something outside of this field to maintain your identity as a human.
Thank you very much. You accepted our invitation and you answered our questions, and thank you very much. And I hope to see you guys for another videos. I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, just write a comment. If you have any questions about this subject, you can write a comment as well. See you bir sonraki videoda görüşmek üzere. Esen kalın.
Do I face the camera?
I mean, you don't have to. You can just speak with me. It will be much natural.
I'll take a pause right there. You can cut that out.
No problem.
It's a difficult question. That's my alarm.